All right, welcome back to the Find Your 20 Coaching Insights Show. I'm your host, Mark Sieverkrop. If you're a business owner looking for more focus, more profits, and more time, well, then you've come to the right place, because this is the show where I share my top insights from recent coaching sessions with my clients to help you throw out the 80% that's holding you back so you can build a business that you actually love owning and a lifestyle that you're excited about. That's right. If your business was these five paper clips, we would take 4 of them, we would throw them out, and we would focus on the one that is most important. And I'm gonna have to find those paper clips later. They're somewhere on the floor now. But we would focus on the one that is most important. But before we get started today, I wanna talk to you about this week's featured resource. And this is something that I actually put together very quickly. It's an idea I had, and I'm super excited about it. If you're on my email list, you've already heard about it this week. If you're not, I want to share it with you now. And it is my Hidden 20 Audio Mastermind. It's my Hidden 20 Audio Mastermind. And this is the opportunity for me to be able to coach you every single weekday. It's like getting $1,000 value every single month, because that's what I charge for individual coaching, but you pay just 16 cents a day. That's right. Every single day, I am recording an exclusive audio content just for my Audio Mastermind members. It's things that are real time, behind the scenes, whether it's things that I'm coaching my clients on, whether it's things going on in my own business, whether it's things that I'm learning from a book or a podcast or a course I'm taking, or from my coach or from a conference I'm going to. This is where I share the real-time, behind-the-scenes information with you. So for instance, one of the things we're going to talk about today is something that I shared with my mastermind members several days ago. And so that's the value of this. You get real-time access to the things that are going on in my business, the things that I'm learning from my clients. You don't have to wait for it maybe to enter the podcast here. You get it every single day. Earlier this week, I shared about the email sequence that I was using to promote this. And I walked through every email and why I wrote what I did and why it was structured the way it was. And I've uploaded just this week nearly an hour and a half of content just for Audio Mastermind members. And you can get access to all of that, the archives of everything that I've already uploaded, plus the daily updates every single weekday for just 16 cents a day, $4.99 a month. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to even take away the risk of that $4.99. And you can learn how I do that by going to findyour20.com/hidden20, hidden and then the number 20. Findyour20.com/hidden20. You can learn all about the Audio Mastermind. You can get signed up right there, and you can begin getting access to that exclusive mastermind content right away. As soon as you sign up, you're going to get access to it. And I'm super excited for it. I can't wait to see you inside it. You're going to love it. So findyour20.com/hidden20. That's our featured resource today. And you can see all of my featured resources by going to findyour20.com/my-best-resources. And you can find all of those resources there, including the Hidden 20 Audio Mastermind. So today, I have 4 things that I want to talk to you about. 4, I put 3 fingers up. 4 things I want to talk to you about today. The first one is something that I've been using for a couple months now, and I actually was talking to one of my clients about it earlier this week, and it's how to create more content than you know what to do with. Now, this may be you, because I can tell you it was me up until a couple months ago, worrying about how to create content. Last week in the podcast, we talked about getting your message out there, sharing your message, sharing what you do so that people can discover it. And you may have thought to yourself, well, Mark, I don't know what to talk about. I can't create that much content. I don't know what to do. And I hear you. I totally hear you, because I was there not very long ago. And now I have more content than I know what to do with. As a matter of fact, I have over 70 audio clips or video clips that are under a minute long that I'm sharing on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram. I have over 70 of them. 40 of them I haven't even used, and I'm using about 5 to 7 a week, and I'm adding 7 to 10 a week. So I'm gaining, and I don't know what to do with them all. I'm starting to post more often. I'm starting to post twice a day instead of once a day, just to try to get all of this content out. And I want to share with you how I did it. And it's really the same premise as this podcast. And what it is I just pay attention when I'm working with clients. I pay attention to the things that come up, either the things that they ask or the recommendations I make, or maybe it's something completely separate that just pops into my head as I'm doing it. And I've trained myself to make a note of that so that I could share that later. That's the whole premise of this podcast. I mean, every week I share with you, 3 to 5 tips or 3 to 5 strategies that I've came across or I've shared or I've taught or I've learned from working with my coaching clients. And I can tell you, I have those experiences every single day. And it's because I've trained myself to notice them. And whatever business you're in, you can train yourself to notice things that would be great content. Think about the questions that your prospects ask. Think about the questions or the challenges that your clients have. Think about the things that show up on, your contact forms. Think about the things that you see in your industry where people are asking questions, and just start keeping a list of those. And I can tell you, as you start doing that, you begin to be attuned to it. And before you know it, it's super easy. And you notice all sorts of things that you can do to create content. And I was sharing this with one of my clients this week. And I was telling her, I was like, actually, you know what? I'm getting an idea for content right now as you and I are talking this. I need to share how I create this content, how I come up with ideas for content. Because a lot of times people will say, well, you just ask your audience, what's your biggest question about this, or what's your biggest challenge about that? And I know my initial feeling with that was, but I don't have a big enough audience. There was a time where I'm like, I don't have big enough audience. If I ask that question, I'll get one response. That doesn't do a lot for content. Another way that you can create content is looking what other people are getting as far as questions. So look at other industry leaders in your industry and see the questions that they're being asked. And then you can answer those questions and create content around those questions. And I'm actually, in one of the other tips today, we'll talk about another way that you can actually utilize and create more content than you think you can. But for right now, start training yourself. Every time you have an interaction with a client, every time you get an email, you have a coaching session, you interact with a client when they're signing up for something, ask yourself, is there something I could teach here? Is there something that I could share with my audience that would be helpful for them? And start writing those down. The more you write it down, the more you put it in a spreadsheet, put it on a list somewhere, the easier it will be to recognize those when they come. Okay, tip number 2, and this one's a real fun one because this has to do with the hidden 20 that I was talking about. And it's how I 6x'd my average click-through rate. 6x. So my average click-through rate on my email list is about 1%. That is typical. But in the email I sent last Friday, I got, last time I checked, it was at 6.4% click-through rate. 6.4%. I had about 10% less open than normally open my emails just because it's early. It hasn't been a full day. And yet I had about 4 times as many clicks. I want to share with you how I did that. And it really comes down to, I leaned into curiosity. I just made a curiosity thing to where people wanted to click to find out. And sometimes we get too overzealous in sharing things and we forget that all we want them to do is take the action we want them to take. So don't dump the whole load of hay, So this email was a very, very short email. As a matter of fact, if you want to see this email, I'm happy to share it with you. No opt-in required. All you have to do is send me an email at mark@findyour20.com. Put in the subject line, in quotes, your email, quote, your email, meaning my email, and I will email you back and send you that email. I'll give you the subject line and the exact words in that email so that you can see what it was. But really, when it came down to it, it was just curiosity. I gave them just enough information to make them want to see what was on the other side of that link. And there's so much value in using curiosity in your marketing because it's a micro commitment. It's a micro commitment. When they commit by clicking on that link, they're much more likely to do the thing on the next step because they've already committed. They've already made a commitment by clicking on that link. So if you want to increase your click-through rate, number 1, you need to have a call to action. You have something for them to click, obviously. But once you have that, then what you want to do is you want to use curiosity. Give them just enough information that they want to learn more, that they want to find out what's next. If you give them so much information that they can make a decision, then it's much easier for them to make a decision and not take the action you want them to take. So err on the side of not giving as much content so that there's curiosity that makes them want to click through. Okay, tip number 3, and this one ties into the last tip just a tiny bit. And this tip is to simplify your marketing. Sometimes we get so overwhelming, we try to share so much that we actually make it more difficult. And this ties into tip number 1 and tip number 2, because creating content, sometimes we can take, and I had this experience with a client this week. She had shared with me an email or a Facebook post that she was going to use. And as I looked at it, I said, there's a lot of information here. I said, what if you took this part and you made that one post? And then you took this part and you made it another post. Then you made this part and you made it a third post. And so we took from that one piece of content, we created 3 different posts that she could share from it, because she had so much information and it was so much to dump on her audience that it would have been hard for them to get through it all. And it ties to tip number 2, because she gave them so much information that they would have felt like they had enough information to make a decision, which is great for some of them. But for the other part, they may make a decision that they think it's not for them when they really don't know all the information. In a 4 or 5 or 600 page or word email, you can't possibly share all of the value that you have with your offer. So with her specifically, she wanted to get them on a call. So I said, let's give them enough information, enough hope that you have the solution to their problem that they want to book a call. That's as much information as you want to get them. And she said, she kind of pushed back and she said, well, yeah, but I want to make sure that they're the right people, that they're qualified. That's why I wanted to share the price. I said, that's totally fine. You can share the price. You can share some of that information, but let's not go overboard and share everything, because when you do that, now they can make a decision without having all of the information. You want to keep some of that curiosity. And so in our marketing, we want to simplify it. I can tell you with that email I sent where I got the 6x click-through rate, the email I was going to send was much longer. It had a lot more information. It was probably, 200 to 300 words. It wasn't super long, but it was much longer. And I threw it out and replaced it with this 15-word email. It was tiny. It wasn't very long, but it was massively effective, because the goal is not we're not getting an award for having the longest email or the most eloquent email. Our reward is sales. We're in business, so we want them to buy. We want them to purchase whatever it is that we're offering them. And so use less words. If you don't need as many words, use less words. Simplify your marketing. Don't give them so much information that they can walk away and make a decision. This is something I learned from one of my clients when we were doing affiliate management. We were recruiting affiliates. When we first reached out to an affiliate, the only thing we wanted them to be able to do was say, yes, I'm interested in this offer. We didn't want them to know everything about the offer. We didn't want them to know the dates. We didn't want them to know the price points. We wanted them to simply know enough to say, I'm interested. Send me more information. Because at that point, now we can talk to them. So we would send an email and say, hey, we have an affiliate launch coming up that has to do with productivity. Is that something you'd be interested in? Would you like us to send you more information? And that was it. That was all we sent. And I had that conversation with one of my clients recently when she was reaching out to potential affiliates. She had created this super long email, all of this information. Here's the links. Here's the swipe copy you can use to promote this to your list. And I said, no, all you want to do with the first one is you want to get them to say, I'm interested. Yes, send me more info. Because when they do that and they take a step that shows they're interested, they're much more likely to move on from there. So you want to simplify your marketing. You want your marketing to be simple enough that they can make the decision to take the next step. That's what you want them to do, to take the next step. One of the key things you hear in copywriting is the goal of the first line of an email is to get the people to read the second line. The goal of the second line is to get them to read the third line. It's just to take the next step. It's not to get them to do everything all at once. Simplify your marketing to help them to take the next step. And often that means you can share a lot less information than you feel like you should. All right, tip number 4. I was having a conversation with a former client this week, and it was interesting because one of the first things he said to me is he's like, dude, I got to tell you, I love the direct mail that you've been sending. I love the things you've been sending me in the mail. And if you've bought a book from me, you've seen not only the book, but also some stuff after that. And I love using direct mail. I love being in people's actual physical mailbox because it's so foreign now. He told me, he goes, I'm keeping it. I'm setting it off to the side, and we're gonna base some of the things we're doing off of that. And that is the value of direct mail. If you have clients, find a way to send them something in the mail. Maybe it's just a thank you note. Maybe it's just saying, hey, thanks for being a client. I really appreciate you. Maybe it's promoting something new that's coming up. But whatever it is, if you use direct mail, you will have access to your clients that nobody else has. I can tell you, this former client was not printing off emails that he'd gotten from other marketers, other influencers that he follows. He wasn't printing those emails off and setting them aside. He may put them in a folder somewhere along with a ton of other emails, but I can tell you my physical mail that I sent him is in a special place. He knows where it is. It's all by itself, and it reminds him of me every time he sees it. And that specific piece of direct mail was about my podcast, this podcast that you're listening to. But using direct mail is an amazing way to get in front of people. People appreciate it. If it's somebody they know, if it's somebody they followed, and it's an extra touch on top of what normally happens. So my challenge to you is to find a way to use direct mail. Find a way to send something physically to your clients or to your prospects. It helps you stand out. It helps you to occupy a different position in their lives, in their interactions than anybody else they're interacting with. Because most people that they interact with online, most companies, are not sending them things in the mail. And so if you do it, you can stand out. So make sure to send direct mail. Now that's the fourth tip. So to recap, our 4 tips today are how to create more content than you know what to do with, how I 6x'd my click-through rate on an email, how to simplify your marketing, and how and why you should be using direct mail in your business. I want to thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I really, really appreciate it. If you haven't yet, make sure you grab a copy of my book, Find Your 20, by going to findyour20.com/grab your copy, and I'll drop one in the mail to you ASAP. And it cost, like I said, you pay the shipping and handling, which costs less than you'll pay for the book on Amazon. Even if you have Prime shipping and it's free, you'll still pay less just for the shipping and handling on this book, and I'll send you the book for free. And also, as a reminder, I would love to have you to be a member, a founding member, one of the first members of the Hidden 20 Audio Mastermind. It's daily, every single weekday, content, coaching, strategies, tips, tactics, behind the scenes, real-time access to everything that I'm learning, everything I'm implementing, everything I'm sharing with my coaching clients for just 16 cents a day. And you can get access to that by going to findyour20.com/hidden20. I would love to see you inside. I'd love to have you join the mastermind. I'm super excited about it. It's been really fun to share that content with those members in the last week and a half. And I can't wait to share it with you when you become a member today. Again, it's 16 cents a day, $4.99 a month. And like I said, on that page at findyour20.com/hidden20, I'll share with you how I'm going to even remove the risk of that $5. So it's going to be absolutely risk-free. It's going to be awesome. I can't wait to share it with you. So go grab that today if that's something that you find valuable. And also, if you know someone who has a podcast or a show, or you do yourself, that you think I'd be a good fit for, I would love to share Find Your 20 with your friend, with the person you know, with you and your audience. Reach out to me at mark@findyour20.com. I'd love to share that with you. And as always, thank you for listening, and get out there and chase your 20.